Hare Krishna, all the devotees. A very warm welcome to our class on the Srimad Bhagavatam study. This is our third class, and in today's class, we will continue our discussion on the chapter 1 of the very first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the previous class, we had discussed the first three verses of chapter 1 in elaborate detail, and we will continue our discussion from there on. The title of this chapter is Questions by Sages, and actually we'll see today we will uh, in reality discuss the questions by the sages that were asked from Shilasuta Goswami. So we have made a little change to our regular program. We are dropping the chanting session that we would do for 10 minutes. It is mainly to give more time on the subject matter of Bhagavatam. I think most of the devotees who have been attending our classes are very much aware of the relevance and importance of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra as their regular sadhana. And I would expect and assume that sadhana part will continue in the lives of the devotees in the background after the class, before the class. They should do it. But in order to give more time and more time to Srimad Bhagavatam study, I'm dropping that session. It will at least save us some uh, 10-15 minutes of class time. So I would request for today's class, I just requested Rakesh Prabhu to volunteer for Mangalacharan. And summary I will be reciting, but from next class we will be issuing the service list for doing Mangalacharan for the devotees and also for the narrating the summary of the previous class. So that we will continue to do. Rakesh ji, request you to kindly recite the Mangalacharan. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitasya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrashvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Rakesh Prabhu. Very nicely recited. Thanks a lot. So we will start the Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So we will first of all do the recap of the previous class. we had done some glorification of Bhagavatam by sharing some of these verses from other scriptures. And after doing a little glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, we started our discussion on the very first chapter of Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we had discussed first three verses of this chapter. And the very first verse, which is an invocation verse, where the author of the book, Srila Vyasdev, is paying his obeisances. He is actually meditating upon the Supreme Lord Krishna. And he's addressing Supreme Lord Krishna, first of all, in the beginning of his verse as Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And after offering his obeisances, he, in the end of that verse, says, Satyam Param Dhimahi. I meditate upon that absolute truth. So he opens up the book by paying his obeisances to Lord Krishna. And then in that particular verse, he ends it by saying, meditating Satyam Param Dhimahi. He actually is saying that I meditate upon that absolute truth. So he's equating Lord Krishna as the absolute truth. And in between the lines of the verse, actually highlights many of the attributes of the absolute truth. So who is an absolute truth? So there were 7 characteristics we saw in that verse, and we will quickly recap them. So Srila Vyasadeva writes, Janmadhyasya yataha, primeval cause. That absolute truth is the primeval cause of what? Of creation, of maintenance and destruction. Then he mentions Abhigya. Abhigya means who is cognizant, who knows everything, directly or indirectly. Then he also mentions about the absolute truth as Swarat. So Swarat means fully independent. Then he goes on mentioning that this absolute truth actually enlightened the first living entity, Lord Brahma, from within his heart. So he's enlightener also. And then he's a bewilderer. Bewilderer means he creates this material creation, which is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. And he bewilders even the sages and the devatas. Why he bewilders the sages and the devatas? Because they take birth from the absolute truth. So he is bewilderer of the sages and the devatas. Muhyanti yat suryaha. Then tejo vari mridam yatha. And then he compares that he bewilders them the same way he bewilders uh, uh, through his material creation. Although his material creation is real, although his material creation is temporary, but it appears to be real. Like Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha. Tejo Vari is something like fire, uh, water, and fire, water, and land. So, like we see sometimes uh, when we are traveling in a hot desert, we sometimes see a mirage. It appears that the land appears like a water, and sometimes on the land we see reflection of trees, and the land and the water appears like land. So it bewilders the devatas and the sages the same way he bewilders by making this material creation, which is actually temporary, but appears very real. No, it doesn't appear temporary. And then he says that he's the factual basis of this material creation, who is actually temporary but appears real. And then ultimately he contrasts the own abode of the Supreme Lord, which is eternal in nature. Dhamna Swain Nirasta Kuhukam. Nirasta Kuhukam means it is not illusion, it is not based on illusion. Eternal abode is very much real and actually is the uh, real reality on the eternal abode. So, like that, uh, Srila Vyasdev opens up this book by paying his obeisances and comparing Supreme Lord Krishna to absolute truth, and then defines the absolute truth's 7 characteristics. Then we moved on to the subject matter of this book, or what is the what is contained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So the second verse again is a very important verse, a very nice verse, where he's talking about the characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam, the book, the study of book which we are going to start or which we have already started now. And Srila Vyasdev mentions the speciality of the content of this book. He says, Dharma projita kaitavo atra. We mentioned he used the word atra in this verse 3 times. Atra, atra, atra means in this book, in this book. What are you going to find in this book? So you are going to find in this book mainly about the topmost religion. What is topmost religion? What is that topmost religious activity a person is expected to perform? And then before coming to that theme of topmost religion, Vyasdev is saying that this book, the content of this book, doesn't support the cheating religion. Now, what are cheating religion? Cheating religion are those religions which are based upon that when you perform those activities, you expect something material benefit out of them. So those kind of religion has been rejected in this book. We are not talking in Bhagavatam about cheating religion. And then it rejects the cheating religion, but it parmo nirmat saranam satam. Parmo, it establishes the highest truth. So lower level of religion, lower class of religions have been sidelined, actually kicked out, strongly kicked out. And the real religion, the essence of the religion has been established. And this is a book not for any Tom, Dick, and Harry. This is a book for some special people. And it says Nirmatsaranam Satam. So Nirmatsar means envious. So those people who have non-enviousness, they can understand this book. Now, question might be raised that how do we know we are envious, non-envious? Generally, we would consider ourselves as envious people. So the idea is that to the degree we are non-envious, to that degree we can actually relish and taste the sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam. So in general, in this world, not everybody is 100% envious. Neither generally people are not 0% envious. So we are somewhere in between. So to the degree we are envious, we will not understand the subject matter of Bhagavatam, and to the degree we are non-envious, we will relish and appreciate the subject matter. Then more of the characteristics, it distinguishes highest reality from illusion. Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam. Vastavam vastu. Vastavam vastu means the real thing. So it is very similar to the establishing the topmost religious principles and distinguish highest reality from illusion. Shivadam. Shivadam means giving auspiciousness. Then tapatraya unmoolanam. And after understanding the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, the reader of Srimad Bhagavatam actually get that kind of insights. He get that kind of vision to see the world in a way that the miseries doesn't affect this person. Tapatraya unmulam. So traya tap, 3 kind of miseries are Adi Atmik Klesha, Adi Bhautik Klesha, and Adi Daivik Klesha. So all these 3 type of miseries, the miseries are not going to end. The miseries will continue all around us. But the person gets the ability, gets the capability, gets the vision to see the world in a way that these miseries actually doesn't affect this person's mindset. And then Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Parerishwaraha. Kim Va Parerishwara. So this one book alone is actually sufficient for God realization. What is the need for any other book? Kim Va Parer Ishwaraha. And then Ishwaraha Sadyo Hridya Avrudyate. Ishwaraha Sadyo. Sadyo means at once establishes the God in the heart. Ishwara Sadyo Hridya Avarudyate Atra Kritibhi Sushrushu Bhish Tatchanat. So immediately, if you hear this transcendental literature through authoritative sources, immediately it establishes the God in the heart. And then we discuss the third verse. The third verse about Srila Vyasdev actually now making an appeal, a very earnest appeal to come and relish this fruit. And here in this verse, he is comparing Srimad Bhagavatam with a fruit. That it's a fruit coming from the Vedas. Actually, it's a ripened fruit of the Vedas. So, ripened fruit of the Vedas would mean that this is giving you the essence of the Vedas. It is giving you the Vedas have been compared to a tree, and the most sweetest part of the tree, most wanted, desired part of the tree is actually the fruit of the tree. So it is the ripened fruit. So not only a fruit, it is actually the ripened fruit. So a tree might have a lot of other fruits which probably have not ripened so far. But among those fruits also, this is a ripened fruit. What it means is this gives you the topmost religion that a human being should practice. So it is ripened fruit of the Vedas. The Vedas establish a lot of things, but this is the topmost. Then it says Shuk Mukhad Drav Amrit Samyutam. Shuk Mukhad Amrit Drav Samyutam. It is very sweet, and the message itself is very sweet, but it becomes even sweeter because it has been mixed by the devotional narrations, very loving devotional narrations of the devotee of the Lord, Shukdev Goswami. So that is another invitation. That is exciting, inviting, making it is something like an advertisement for Srimad Bhagavatam. And then it says Amrit Drav. Amrit Drav. Drav means it is actually Drav. It is liquid. It is nectarian juice, Amrit. And Samyutam. Samyutam means it is perfect in all respects. Perfect in all respects means because it has been compared with a fruit. A fruit many times will have seeds, will have peel. So when you eat a fruit, then these seeds and peel actually interrupt when you are tasting the fruit. So it doesn't have that kind of seeds and peel. So how to understand what are these seeds and peels? These are something like related to the philosophy of Jnana and Karma. It doesn't have that kind of philosophies of other philosophies like Jnana Kand and Karma Kand, etc., etc. So it is very nectarian. It is very sweet. And then it says Pibat Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. Pibat Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. So it is inviting the reader to drink it. Drinking means when you hear it, in one sense it is compared to a fruit, but on the other hand it is a fruit is supposed to be eaten, but here it is inviting us to drink it. Drinking means it is very easy to understand. Like when we eat something, it takes some effort to chew it, and then we swallow it. Then in the digestion also it takes some time to simplify the food, and then the body digests it, and so on. Ultimately the fruit gets converted into liquid, and then it is digested in the body, assimilated in the body. Similarly, this is also a fruit, but which is a liquid fruit. So liquid means immediately it goes inside, it touches the heart. Very easy to understand. And it satisfies spiritualists at all levels. Rasam malayam. Ras means mellow. Ras means taste. So rasam alayam. Alayam means the house of rasa. So it is full of rasa. And the rasa means that it has, since it is house of rasa, it has the capacity to satisfy the spiritualists at all levels. The spiritualists who are beginning their spiritual journey and spiritualists who are already advanced. So it satisfies all sorts of spiritualists. So this is the book which has been given this advertisement in verse number 3. So like this, we have done a recap of our previous class. Now we'll start our discussion for today's class. And here what you see on this slide is the overview map. This is the overview map of chapter 1. We have already covered our discussion on first 3 verses. Now we will, in today's class, we will try.
Can you highlight the slides, please? You are highlighted, not the slide.
Are you not able to see the slides?
In a small, on the lower right corner, but your picture is highlighted, not the slide. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Are other devotees also having the same issue, or are you not able to see the slides?
No, yes, Prabhu. We are able to see the
We
slide.
see the
We are
slide.
able to see the slide.
see
We
the
don't
slide.
have any problem.
We don't
Okay,
have
I
any-
think
problem.
okay. I think Shivan Prabhu, you need to readjust your screen. You need to enlarge the slide and maybe make my screen a little small. So it is, I think, something more individual in my opinion.
Okay, sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry.
That is okay. That is okay. Yeah. So as I was discussing, today's we will try to finish this the whole chapter up till 23 verse.
ये आप करेगा ना श्वेता पुराना
So yeah, in case the class overshoots after 7 p.m. also, I will continue to finish the chapter. In case devotees are tied up and they have another appointment, so I would request those devotees to kindly recap or once again catch up by the recording. So because I prepare in some with some plan, and it might happen that I might not meet the deadline of 7 p.m. where we are supposed to stop. So kindly excuse me for that. But since we have recording facility, the devotees are requested to catch up post the class, after the class, by seeing the recording. Thank you very much. Okay. Request the devotees to kindly mute their microphone. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll start the discussion from the 4th verse. Here, setting the scene for the sage's inquiry. So after the prelude by Srila Vyasdev, the discussion and the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam is now beginning. Here, there is a scene being set for the sages who are making some inquiry from Srila Suta Goswami. Yeah. So the 4th verse is something like this. Naimishe nimisha kshetre rishaya shaunakadaya satram swargaya lokaya sahasra samamasata. So in this 4th verse, it is being discussed. Once in Naimisharanya, great sages headed by Shaunak Rishi assembled to perform a 1,000-year sacrifice. So the scene starts in the forest of Naimisharanya, where there are many rishis and sages, and their leader was Shaunak Rishi. Assembled to perform a 1,000-year sacrifice. So all these sages were assembled in this forest of Naimisharanya to perform a sacrifice. And it is mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada that why this place of Naimisharanya has been chosen. And he mentions that in Varaha Puran, it is mentioned that the place Naimisharanya is a very auspicious place, and if one performs some sacrifice, some yajna, then it reduces the power of the demoniac people. So some background Srila Prabhupada tries to give on this verse. And these sages have now assembled in Naimisharanya forest, and one day, after performing their morning duties, they respectfully offered Vyas Asan to Srila Suta Goswami. And they would now start asking some very important questions. So this is the background of this first 2 verses, that there is a forest where a lot of sages have assembled, and now they are about to ask some questions from Suta Goswami, to whom they have identified as the speaker of the assembly, and they have very respectfully offered the seat of Vyas Asan for him to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, in these next 3 verses, 6th, 7th, and 8th, the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunak Rishi, will first of all appreciate and praise some qualities of Srila Suta Goswami. And these 3 verses are very nice, very good. And I would request Rakesh Prabhu to recite together with me these verses. So this is also trying to set up one new way of teaching, where whenever there are Sanskrit verses, I will recite line by line the verses and would request to volunteer one person from the devotees who are participating in this class to recite after me. So that way there will be participation from the devotees also, and it will appear more inclusive as far as the discussion is concerned. So Rakesh ji, are you ready?
Okay, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So in today's class, I requested Rakesh Prabhu to help me on this so that others also can understand what we are doing. In next class, before the beginning of the class, I will request for volunteers who would be ready to participate in this way while we are delivering the class. Okay. Rishya Uchuhu
Rishaya Uchuhu
Tvaya Khalu Puranani
Vaya Khalu Puranani
Setihasani Chanagha
Etihasani Chanada
Akhyatani Api Adhitani
Akhyatani Api Adhitani
Dharma Shastrani Yanyuta.
Dharma Shastrani Yanyata.
Okay, thank you. So we will discuss what is the message in this verse. So, Tvaya Khalu Puranani. So here now Rishya Uchuhu. Rishya Uchuhu means here the sages of Naimisharanya now speaking this verse. So headed by Shaunak Rishi. So actually this is most likely Shaunak Rishi is speaking this verse. Tvaya Khalu Puranani Seti Hasani Cha Nagha. Khalu means indeed. Certainly. Tvaya. Tvaya is addressing to Sut Goswami. Tvaya Khalu Puranani Seti Hasani Cha Nagha. Puranani and say Itihasani. So these are two words, Puran and Itihas. So Puran is part of Vedic literature. These are several books which are known as Puran. In these Puranas, there are actually conversations between different personalities, and the subject of these conversation is mainly to bring out some important message. And these kind of books are known as Puran. Similarly, there are other categories of Vedic literature known as Itihasas. And these Itihasas are, for example, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and so on. So, here the sages of Naimisharanya are addressing to Sut Goswami, are saying that you are expert in the Puranas and the Itihasas. And then they are saying that Cha Anagha, and also you are Anagha. Anagha means sinless. Then Akhyatani api adhitani. Adhitani actually means well read. You have read all the Vedic literature in detail. You are expert in reading all these Vedic literature. And Akhyatani. Akhyatani means not only you have read these Vedic literature, but also you have spoken at great length on these Vedic literature. So, Dharma Shastrani Yanyuta. So here the sages of Naimisharanya are saying that you are well read, you have taught these Vedic literature very nicely, and not only you are very accomplished in Puranas and Itihasas, at the same time you are sinless also. Sinless means you don't have any bad habits. Bad habits like, for example, when devotees come to ISKCON, we always tell them to refrain from four activities like no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxication. So, so the speaker of Bhagavatam actually should be pure in his dealings, in his habits. So Cha Anagha means you are also sinless, and you are also very expert in these books like Puranas, Itihasas. You have very well read them. All these Dharma Shastras, you have very well read them, and you have taught them also very well. So please come and take this seat of Vyas Asan and kindly enlighten us. So they are actually glorifying Suta Goswami. They are trying to create a soft heart within him by his appreciation, by genuine appreciation, and that's how they are inviting Suta Goswami. Here, an important point for us to know is that it is mentioned by Srila Vyasdev about Puranas and Itihasas. About Puranas and Itihasas. So why he is mentioning about Puranas and Itihasas here? Because Srila Vyasdev consider them an important part of the Vedic literature. However, there is a class of transcendentalists who would disregard Puranas and Itihasas, and they don't consider the Puranas and Itihasas as part of actually Vedic literature. They only confine themselves to the four Vedas and so on. But here it is very clear, the author of the Vedas himself is actually acknowledging here the relevance and importance of Puranas and Itihasas. Then, Rakeshji, Yani Veda Vidam Shrestho. Rakesh Prabhu, are you there?
यानि वेदा विदं श्रेष्ठो
Bhagavan Badarayanaha
भगवान् बादरायणः
Anyecha Maya Suta
अन्न च मुनया सूता
Paravara Vido Vidu.
परावरा विदो विदुः.
Okay. So, Yani Veda Vidam Shrestho. Yani Veda Vidam Shrestho. Here it is said Veda Vidam. Veda Vidam means you are learned in the Vedas. And Shrestho. Shrestho means you are actually very senior. Not only learned in the Vedas, but you are very senior. Shrestho. Yani Ved Vidam Shrestho. Bhagavan Badarayana. Bhagavan Badarayana. Here Badarayan means actually it is referring to Srila Vyasdev. Yani Ved Vidam Shrestho. Bhagavan Badarayana. Anye cha Munaya Suta. So Bhagavan Badarayana, why Vyasdev actually has been mentioned here, Bhagavan, because Srila Vyasdev is actually the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. He's called as the literary incarnation or incarnation of the Supreme Lord because he created all these Vedic literature. So many times the word Bhagavan is also used for living entities, and many times these living entities actually are empowered by the Supreme Lord for a particular purpose. So they are also called as incarnation of the Lord, and that is why here he has been mentioned as Bhagavan Badarayana. So here more qualities of Srila Sud Goswami are being mentioned here, that you are knowledgeable of Vedas, you are actually senior most Vedantist, and you know what is the heart of Bhagavan Badarayana. You know the essence of or the mood of Srila Vyasdev. You know about him. And then Anyecha Munaya Suta. Anyecha Munaya Suta. Anyecha Munaya Suta means not only Vyasdev, but you also know about other munis, what philosophy they know. There are different type of munis and rishis who would propagate different type of philosophies. So you not only you know the essence of the Vedas, but you also are knowledgeable about the philosophy other munis actually know and they preach. And then Paravaro Vido Vidhu. Paravaro Vido Vidhu means you are actually very exalted and very learned in all these subject matters. So here what qualities of Sud Goswami have been highlighted here is that he knows about the heart of his spiritual master or spiritual master like Vyasdev, and then not only he knows the topmost philosophy of the Vedas, but also knows about the other philosophies also. So you know, in the Vedas there are many different type of philosophy. Like for example, Sankhya Yoga, and then there are other philosophies like Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, Vaisheshika, Karma Mimamsa, and so on. So there are many different type of philosophies. So the speaker of Bhagavatam actually should be conversant not only about the topmost philosophy of Bhagavatam, but also he should be also conversant about the other philosophies also, so that he can establish the supremacy of the topmost philosophy, which is the bhakti of the Supreme Lord. So like that, these are the qualities of Suta Goswami being addressed by the sages of Naimisharanya. So we will come to the next verse. Rakesh ji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. वेत्था त्वं सौम्य तत्सर्वं
Vetha tvam saumya tat sarvam
तत्त्वतस्तत् अनुग्रहात्
tatvatastad anugrahat
ब्रूयु स्निग्धस्य शिष्यस्य
bruyuh snigdhasya sishyasya
गुरवो गुह्यमप्युता.
guruvo guhyam apyuta.
Okay. Then he's saying, Vetha tvam saumya tat sarvam. Vetha tvam. Vetha tvam means you are well conversant. Saumya, Saumya means you are very pure and simple. You are Saumya. Sarvam tatvatas tad anugrahat. Sarvam tatvatas. Sarvam tatvatas means you have actually assimilated all the scientific knowledge of the Vedas. You have Sarvam tatvatas. And how have you been able to assimilate all this Sarvam tatvatas? Tad anugrahat. Tad anugrahat. Tad anugrahat means you have the anugraha. Anugraha of whom? Guruvo guhyam apyuta. Guruvo guhyam apyuta. Guruvo guhyam. You have the anugraha. You have the actually the favor of your senior most spiritual teachers. So because you had the anugraha, you have been able to assimilate. They have been favorable to you. They have been more kind to you, and they, because of their kindness, because of their favor, you have been able to assimilate all the tattvas of the Vedic literature. And then bruyuhu snigdhasya shishyasya. Snigdhasya means you have been a very submissive disciple. Snigdhasya shishyasya. Shishyasya means disciple. Snigdha means affectionate. You have been very submissive. You have been very obedient disciple of your guru. So kindly, bruyuhu, kindly speak this philosophy to us because you are really qualified to speak this philosophy. Now here you can see from these three verses we can understand what should be the qualities, what should be the characteristics of the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the next slide you will see I have summarized in a tabular form many of these qualities of the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Here you can see Anagha. Anagha means he should be free from all the vices. This is, and then Adhitani, Akhyatani. Adhitani means well read in the scriptures, Puranas and Itihasas, and Akhyatani means experienced in explaining them very well. Veda Vidam Shrestha, eldest learned in the Vedas. And then in the 8th verse, you will see more of spiritual qualities of Suta Goswami has been mentioned. So in these 6th and 7th verse, these are a little bit external in nature, the qualities that he should be free from vices. He should be well read in the scriptures, Puranas and Itihasas. He should have experience in teaching these scriptures. He should be very learned in the Vedas. So these are secondary qualities actually. But internally, spiritually, how elevated this person should be actually is mentioned in the 8th verse. He should be Saumya. Saumya means he should be gentle. He should be pure. He should be simple. He should not be having any political motives. He should be very straightforward person, pure at heart, like that. And Snigdhasya. So Snigdhasya means very submissive, and because when the disciple is submissive, when the disciple actually understand the heart of the spiritual master and follows the instruction of the spiritual master, then the spiritual master hearts naturally feel very joyful and very merciful towards the disciple. And the import of the spiritual teachings that the spiritual master wants to give to the disciple actually becomes very, very easy. Now, Rakeshji, can you read these uh, lines to us? These
Yes,
are
Prabhu.
these are some of the excerpts from the purport of 6th, 7th, and 8th verses. These are some points that Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, and like to mention it to you. Yes, Prabhu, please.
Yes, Prabhu. Hearing and explaining more important. To hear and explain them is more important than reading them. One can assimilate the knowledge of the revealed scriptures only by hearing and explaining. Hearing is called Shravana and explaining is called Kirtana.
Yes. So
Then
this is
these
coming. Prabhu, wait a minute. Yeah. So this is coming from the verse purport of the 6th verse. Here, Srila Prabhupada is writing that to hear and to explain is more important than reading them. Now, here, what does them represent here? Them actually represents to the Vedic literature. So here, if we read these books, that is certainly good. That is really purifying. But what is more important is to explain them and to hear those explanations. Because Vedic literature, many times the message in these literature, in these words, is confidential. It is not very evident what the message is. So that is what Prabhupada is trying to say here. To hear and explain them is more important than reading them. Now, next verse, next one, Prabhu, this one.
theism explained completely in Vedanta Sutra. Theism is explained completely in the Vedanta Sutra, whereas in other systems of philosophical speculations, practically no mention is given to the ultimate cause of all causes.
Yeah. Now, here the important point is theism. Theism means here Prabhupada is trying to emphasize upon that the topmost worship, the topmost worship is actually clearly explained in Vedanta Sutra. But whereas other systems of philosophical speculations, practically no mention is given to the ultimate cause of all causes. Practically no mention is given to the ultimate cause of all causes. Now, what does it mean? It means that there are a lot of Vedic books, but not all Vedic books actually uh, gives you the topmost philosophy. But in Vedanta Sutra, the topmost philosophy has been given, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So the point here is that when you are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, you are getting the topmost spiritual subject. Okay, next one.
Secret of success in spiritual life. The secret of success in spiritual life is in satisfying the spiritual master and thereby getting his sincere blessings.
Yes. So, like in the last one, where eighth verse, where it is being mentioned that you have been favored by your spiritual teachers because you were snigdasya shishyasya. You were very affectionate and submissive disciple to your teachers. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that the secret of success in spiritual life is in satisfying the spiritual master and thereby getting his sincere blessings. So when the spiritual master feels satisfied, his heart is very satisfied. The blessings naturally flow from the spiritual master to the disciple. So this is something which is very important for us as the practitioner of spirituality, the practitioner of devotional service. Okay, now we'll move forward. Please explain in the ninth verse. You would see that now the question starts to come. This is the very first question. This is the very first question that the sages are going to ask. So they are saying, please explain in easy and understandable way what is the absolute and ultimate good for people. What is the absolute and ultimate good for people? So this is the first question that the sages of Naimisharanya are now asking Sut Goswami. So you can actually read between the lines uh, from this ninth verse and can appreciate the heart of the sages. The heart of the sages is actually always naturally inclined for the welfare of the people, and not only welfare of the people, actually the spiritual welfare of the people. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada makes a point that if spiritual welfare is taken care, if spiritual welfare is taken care in one's life, then the material welfare automatically follows. The material welfare automatically follows. Now, to give you an example is, you would see many times if you go to some shop, many times, specifically I see this in North India. I am not sure whether this happen here in South also. In North India, when you go to the shopkeepers, many times they like to write Shubh Labh. Shubh Labh. So Labh means profit, Shubh means auspicious. What are they trying to say? That we should actually have the Labh, we should have the profit, but it should come in an auspicious way. Auspicious way. So how can a profit comes in an auspicious way? When you do your dealings in a proper way, in an ethical way, in a dharmic way. So this is what here the sages of Naimisharanya are asking. Please explain in easy and understandable way what is the absolute and ultimate good for people. So that is what they are asking. They are not asking any general philosophy. They are asking ultimate good. Ultimate good means you tell us the topmost. You don't actually you don't spend a lot of time in telling us other philosophies or grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, that kind of philosophy we don't need. You just tell us ultimate good for people. Then 10th verse. In the 10th verse, the qualities of Kali Yuga people have been discussed. So here the sages of Naimisharanya are asking for ultimate good for people. Why they are asking for ultimate good for people? Because of verse number 10. Because the situation now we are going to face in this world is going to be very, very difficult, very, very challenging. Kali Yuga is about to come, and the people of Kali Yuga are of some characteristics. So please explain what is the ultimate good for people. Rakesh ji, are you ready?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Prayanalpayusha sabhya
Prayanalpayusha sabhya
kalavasmin yuge janaha
kalavasmin yuge janaha
manda sumanda matayo
manda sumanda matayo
manda bhagya hyupadritaha.
manda bhagya hi upadritaha.
Ji. So here prayen alpayushah sabhya. Sabhya is being referred to the exalted sages. Sabhya. Prayen alpayushah sabhya. So Sabhya is being mentioned here for Vidvat Samaj ka Sadasya. Vidvat Samaj ka Sadasya means the sages of Naimisharanya are addressing it to Sut Goswami. That you are so exalted person. Hey, oh my dear learned sage. Oh learned sage. Prayan Alpayushaha Sabhya. Prayan Alpayusha. Prayan means normally, generally. Generally, the people in Kali Yuga are Alpayushaha. Alpayushaha means they are short lived. They are short lived. Alpayushaha. Kalavasmin, Kalav. Kalav means refer to Kali Yuga. Yuge Janaha. The people of Kali Yuga, Kali Yuga are actually short lived. Then Mandaha. Mandaha means they are lazy. Manda means they are lazy. Then Sumanda Matayo. Sumanda Matayo. Sumanda Matayo means misguided. They don't understand properly what is right and wrong for them. They are misguided. Then Manda Bhagya. Manda Bhagya means they are unfortunate, they are unlucky. Why unlucky? Because they have probably the facilities for spiritual advancement. Many times when people come to them, they ask them to do something good, to do something for the benefit of their spiritual advancement. they actually don't recognize it. They just ignore it. That is why they are mandabhagya. They are unlucky. And upadrata. Upadrata. Upadrata means disturbed. So here the sages of Naimisharanya are asking Sud Goswami to please explain what is ultimate good for people. Absolute and ultimate good. Topmost. Uh, uh, because we are going to face a very dark situation in the time to come. Kali Yuga is about to come. And in Kali Yuga, people will be short lived, people will be lazy, people will be misguided, people will be unlucky, and people will be disturbed. Like that, they are addressing the qualities of Kali Yuga people. And here, in this purport, uh, Srila Prabhupada actually touches upon each of these points very nicely. So here we will discuss a little bit about what are these important points from the purport. So Rakeshji, can you read this?
Yes, Prabhuji. Why Kali Yuga people are short-lived? In Kali Yuga, the duration of life is shortened not so much because of insufficient food, but because of irregular habits.
Because of irregular habits. So why people are short-lived? Why Alpayusha in Kali Yuga? Because not because of insufficient food. It is not because they are not getting food, but because of irregular habits. Irregular habits means they would not eat properly, they would not sleep on time, they will uh, do all kind of they have all kind of bad living habits. They would not live close to the nature. They will use air conditioners, they will use all kind of artificial means to satisfy their senses. That is why their life duration is short. So this is, and then okay, next one.
How Kali Yuga people are lazy? The people of this age are also very lazy, not only materially but in the matter of self-realization.
Yes, so lazy specifically in the matter of self realization. They are not interested in their spiritual growth. They are simply interested in sense gratification. So that is why that is the definition of laziness. Laziness means if we are not active, if we are not really careful about our spiritual growth, then Srila Prabhupada identifies them as lazy. Next one, Prabhu.
Why Kali Yuga people are disturbed? Their minds are always disturbed and full of anxieties due to so many different engagements of sense gratification.
Hmm. So why people are disturbed? Because they are full of anxiety due to so many different sense gratification, due to different engagements. Now, different engagements could be they would like to go to cinema, they would like to do smoking, they would like to do drinking, uh, and then all kind of clubs and different type of sports, different type of bad habits, different type of literature they would read. So they are so eager for sense gratification of different type. They are full of anxieties what to do. So this is why people are actually disturbed. People are not having simple lives, so they remain disturbed. Okay, next one.
Why Kali Yuga people are misguided? In this age, many unscrupulous men manufacture their own religious faiths, which are not based on any revealed scriptures.
Hmm. Now you see, this is very common feature in Kali Yuga that you will find some person has created some religious faith, and he has become the godman of these people, and the people will come to this person because he is offering some cheap and quick remedy uh, for their problems of life. So with by his so-called religion, and most of these people are who are the followers of these people are actually interested in sense gratification. They just want quick fix solution, and these many unscrupulous men manufacture their own religious faiths, and that is why the people remain misguided. People remain misguided because they are not following the real thing. They are not following the right religion. They are simply following some manufactured artificial religion. Next one, Prabhu.
Why Kali Yuga people are quarrelsome? Material sense gratification is now the standard of civilization. For the maintenance of such material civilizations, there is a constant strain of hot and cold wars between these different groups.
Yes. So the main god of the world today is money. Money means sense gratification. So money is the main god. So and the resources of this world are limited. So there is always competition for the resources. And if you are not in line with my agenda, then there will be hot and cold wars. Now you can see the example of Russia and Ukraine. These two countries are fighting for what? Simply to establish their supremacy, because one country will feel threatened because of the other country's moves, etc., etc. So this is the reason, because of material sense gratification they want to do. The Kali Yuga people are quarrelsome. So like that, Srila Prabhupada has elaborated in his purports with lot of beautiful points. So you can always read these purports at your own time. I'm picking up only some very important and relevant points. Then, so this was the first question. The first question was, uh, please explain what is the absolute and ultimate good for people. Now coming to the question number two. Question number two is, the sages says there are many scriptures. What is the essence of scriptures that benefit everyone? That benefits everyone. And there are many scriptures. Many scriptures. So the sages themselves are recognizing so many books are there, Prabhuji. So many books, Maharaj. Uh, which book and what is the essence? What is the ultimate message? One book is saying something, another book is saying something, one religious leader is saying something, another religious leader is preaching something else. How do we understand what has to be followed? So they are asking this mainly keeping the mentality of the Kali Yuga people. Because Kali Yuga people, first of all, they would not be interested in spirituality. And even if they become interested in spirituality, then there is so much available. How to distinguish the real thing? So, what is the essence of the scriptures? That is what they're asking. And then the third question is, they ask is, what was the reason for which Lord Krishna appeared? So now they are slowly coming up to their real intent. They are actually coming to, they wanted to hear about Lord Krishna actually. In the pretext of doing that sacrifice for 1,000 years in Naimisharanya, they wanted to hear about Lord Krishna. And they are now asking for what purpose, what was the prayojan, what was the reason for which actually Lord Krishna appeared. So like that, we have now seen question number 1, question number 2, and question number 3. And these questions you will see will be answered in chapter number 2 and chapter number 3. Sud Goswami will point by point answer these questions in the next 2 chapters. So let us see now. Now this is something, a slide I prepared mainly to give you some graphic example of the nature of Kali Yuga people. So they are quarrelsome. They are quarrelsome. Every time you will see there is some conflict going on, either in your company, in your market, in your house, in your colony, in your apartment, and so on. Then this scene is very common. Lazy, simply holding a remote and then spending the whole day in front of TV or maybe some other gadget like that, and disturbed. So the stress and tension are two common buzzwords of Kali Yuga. Even a 10-year-old will say, "Sir, I am full of tension. I'm in lot of stress," and ultimately you will see misguided, because they cannot differentiate between what is good and bad. They remain misguided. They are confused most of the times. Okay. Now we have seen question number 1, question number 2, and question number 3. Now, before moving to question number 4, 5, and 6, the sages of Naimisharanya are now glorifying Shravanam, Harinam, and Sadhu Sangha, devotee association. So they are glorifying about 3 things: hearing, holy name, and devotees of Lord Krishna. So in the 13th verse, we are eager to hear about Krishna it is beneficial and uplifting. So here in the 13th verse, Sud Goswami will glorify the process of hearing about Lord Krishna. Rakesh ji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Tanna shushrushmananam
Tanna Susrusamananam
arhasi anganuvarnitum
Arhasi Anganuvarnitam
yasyavataro bhutanam
Yasyavataro Bhutanam
kshemaya cha bhavaya cha
Shemaya cha Bhavaya cha
Tanna Shrusha Mananam. Tanna Shrusha Mananam. Arhasi Anganu Varnitum. So here they are saying Anuvarnitum. Here the word is Anuvarnitum. Varnitum is coming from this Hindi word also. You will know Varnan. So Varnitum means describe. And Anuvarnitum means described according to how you have heard it from your own authorities. Anusar. Anu word is coming from Anusar, according to. So Anuvarnitum means not anything and everything, but according to what you have heard from the spiritual authorities of yours, kindly do that Varnitum. Huh? Of what? Varnitum for what? Yasya Avataro. Yasya Avataro means the activities of the Supreme Lord. Avataro, the activities of the incarnations of Supreme Lord. Arhasi. Arhasi means you should actually do this for us. Tanna Shushrusha Mananam. Shushrusha Mananam means they are referring for themselves. They are saying that we are actually eager to hear, we are desirous to know. Tanna Shushrusha Mananam. We are now eager and desirous to know. Please explain the activities of the avatars, the incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Why? Because Bhutanam Kshemayacha Bhavayacha. Bhutanam doesn't mean here ghosts. Bhutanam actually means living entities. Because the explanations of the activities of the Supreme Lord are Kshemaya and Bhavaya. Kshemaya means beneficial and Bhavaya means uplifting. These are these activities, these explanations about the Supreme Lord are beneficial and uplifting for general masses of people. So again, you can see here, the sages are more interested in the benefit of the people, in the how people can be benefited, how people's life, people well-being can be taken care of. So again, that is the subject matter in this verse. Okay. Rakesh ji, now 14th one.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Apanna samsritim ghoram
Apanna Samsritim Ghoram
yannama vivasho granan
Yannama Vivaso Granam
tata sadyo vimuccheta
Tata Sadyo Vimuccheta
yad bibheti swayam bhayam.
Yad Bibheti Swayam Bhayam
Apannaha. So apannaha means those people who are caught up. Samsritim. Samsritim means the cycle of birth and death. And ghoram. Ghoram means badly. So here the first line is the people of Kali Yuga actually are caught up in the cycle of birth and death very badly. Then yan nam vivasho granan. Yan nam means the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Vivasho granan. Vivasho granan means vivasho. Vivasho means even unknowingly. Vivasho means even unknowingly if one chants the holy name of the Lord. Yan nam vivasho granan. Then what it can do? Tataha sadyo vimuccheta. Sadyo again this word has come. Sadyo. Sadyo previously also had come in the second verse. Tata sadyo vimuccheta. Vimuccheta means liberate. It will immediately liberate. It will immediately liberate, even if it is taken unknowingly. even if the holy name is taken unknowingly, it will immediately liberate, because yad bibheti swayam bhayam. Yad bibheti swayam bhayam. Bibheti means fearful, and swayam bhayam means fear personified. So holy name is so powerful that any inauspiciousness is actually very fearful of the holy name of the Lord. And even if one takes this holy name of the Lord unknowingly, uh, then it immediately liberates. Sadhyo vimuchyeta. At once it vimuchyeta, it liberates. Now here you will see this verse reminds of the pastime of Ajamil. So Ajamil was somebody who was a very pious Brahmana. Let me give you a little narration of the Ajamil story. Ajamil was a very pious Brahmana in his early life, but because once he saw a low class women and a low class men in the forest embracing each other, embracing each other, he fell down from his Brahmanical standard. He indulged himself in a lot of sinful activities. He rejected his chaste wife. He married with some low class society lady, and from that society lady he actually born a lot of children. Even at an advanced stage of maybe 80 or 90 years, he was still bearing children from that lady. Now, uh, in that advanced stage, he had a small son, and for some good fortune of his, he kept the son's name as Narayan. And while at the deathbed, when Ajamil was at deathbed, uh, the Yamadutas, actually came to pull out the subtle body of this Ajamil, and uh, at that time he called out this name Narayan, addressing his son who was playing nearby. So Ajamil did not call consciously to Lord Narayan. Actually, he called out to his own son Narayan. Uh, But because he called out this name Narayan, immediately Vishnu Dutas came for his rescue. And when the Vishnu Dutas came, he said, the Vishnu Duta said to the Yamadutas that now you cannot take Ajamil. You cannot take. He has uttered the holy name of Narayan. He has uttered the holy name of the Lord. You cannot take him. So the point is, dear devotees, that here the sages of Naimisharanya are glorifying the potency of the holy name. They are saying that it is as powerful as the Lord Himself. The Lord has invested all His power in His holy names. And because of this holy name, even the fear personified, even the Yamudutas are fearful of this holy name. So, holy name liberates even by unconscious chanting. So, they are glorifying the process of hearing, and they are glorifying the process of chanting of the holy name. Then, in the 15th verse, in the 15th verse, we will see they are glorifying the power of devotee association. They are glorifying the power of devotee association. What these sages are saying? Yatpada samshraya suta
Yatpada suta
munaya prashamayana
munaya prashamayana
sadya punanti upsrishta
sadhya punanti upsrashtaha
swardhuni yaponu sevaya.
svarduni nusevaya.
Now here, yat pad samshraya suta. Yat pad samshraya. Samshraya means shelter. Pad. Pad is actually referring to the lotus feet of the Lord. Yat pad samshraya suta. Munaya prasha mayanaha. Munaya prasha manaya. So those devotees who have taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, sadhya punanti upsrashta. Sadhya punanti upsrashta. By the association, upsrashta means, up means near. The word up means near. By the association, by coming close, by coming near to such devotees. Which type of devotees? Who have taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Sadhya punanti. Punanti means purifying. Sadhya means at once. So this word Sadhya is coming many times. You can see in the previous verses also. This word Sadhya has come. Sadhya punanti upsrashta. So upsrashta, at once. At once they are purified. Then swardhuni. Swardhuni apo anusevaya. Swardhuni is referring here to Ganges, river Ganges. And apo means water. Eh? So Swardhuni apo, water of river Ganges actually purify only after prolonged use. So if you use Ganges water, it will sanctify from the sinful reactions only if you use this Ganges water for a prolonged period of time. But the devotees of the Lord who have taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and who are doing this devotional service, and if one comes in association of such devotees, and then Satya Punanti, they are immediately purified. So there is a difference between the potency of Ganges, holy river like Mother Ganges, and the potency of the association of the devotees. So the Ganges water may nullify sinful reactions. If you bathe in the water of the river Ganges, it will nullify the sinful reaction you might be having from the previous lives. But if you come in the association of devotees, it will not only nullify you from the sinful reaction, but will actually burn the tendency to commit sin in our life. So we may have sinful desires also. So the association of devotees actually work at the root of the sin, the sinful desires that we have in our heart. So it inspires us to take to devotional service. And when we are inspired to take devotional service, our sinful reactions are also eliminated, and the tendency to commit sin is also eliminated. However, taking bath in the holy river only eradicates sinful reactions. It does not eradicate the desire to commit sin. So here I don't want to minimize the importance of holy river. They are very worshipable to all of us. Like Mother Ganges is a very worshipable river, but we need to understand how powerful is the sanctifying power of devotees. It is even greater than the sanctifying of holy rivers. So next one. Now here in the 16th verse, Suta Goswami is raising a rhetorical question. The answer to that question is actually yes. He's saying, who will not be then interested in desiring this deliverance from the sin and would not want to hear the glories of the Lord? After hearing so much about the Lord, the association, the holy name, the process of Shravan, who would not want to hear the glories of the Lord? The Lord is great, his katha is even greater, and the devotee association is even more purifying. So that is what is being said here. Ko va bhagavatastasya
Ko va bhagavatastasya
punya shlokedya karmana
punya shlokedya karmanah
shuddhikamo na shrunuyat
shuddhikamo na shrunyad
yasha kalimalapaham
yasha kalima apaham.
Yasha Kali Malapaham. Kali Malapaham means, Kali Malapaham, Kali Malapaham. Mal means the dirty things of the Kali Yuga. The dirty things of the Kali Yuga. So, ko va bhagavatas tasya. Ko va bhagavatas tasya. Ko va na shrunuyad. Ko va na shrunuyad means who will not be willing to hear. Shrunuyad means hear. Bhagavatas. Kova, who will not be willing to hear what? Bhagavatas. Tasya punya karmana. Tasya punya karmana. Punya karmana means who would not like to hear about the punya karma, who would not like to hear about the glorious activities, glorious karma of the Lord. And what kind of Lord is? That Lord is Shlokedya. Shlokedya means who is worshipped by glorious stutis and stotras. For such Lord, who would not like to hear his katha, and Shuddhi Kamo. Shuddhi Kamo means those who are desirous of purification, who want to purify themselves. From what? from the Kali Malapaham, from the bad things, bad impressions of the Kali. Those who want to purify themselves, who would not then want to hear the glorifications of the Lord. So, like this, you would see in verse number 13 to 16, in verse number 13 to 16, glories of hearing, glories of the holy name, and glories of the devotees have been mentioned by these, by the sages of the Naimisharanya. Let us now move to verse number 17 to 19, and in these verses, question number 4 and question number 5 are discussed. So, in 17th verse, the sages are posing their fourth question. They are saying, "Now, my dear Sud Goswami, please describe about Lord's Purush Avataras." Purush Avataras. Now, there are different types of avatars of the Lord. So I will give you a little background about the different types of avatars. Let us see the fifth question also, which is very similar. The fifth question is, describe about Lord's Leela Avataras. So here in question number 4, they are asking about Purush Avataras. In question number 5, they are asking about Leela Avataras. And in the next slide, you see here on your screen, the 6 type of avatars are being mentioned here. And what are these avatars? The very first avatara is the Purush Avatar. Now, Purush Avatar means what? Purush Avatar is 3 types. Purush Avatar is related with creation. Creation means how this whole universe has been created. This whole galaxies, the Brahmanda, the universes and planets and so on and so forth. How that creation has been done. So that creation is done by Purush Avataras. So we have 3 type of Purush Avataras. One is Karanodakshai Vishnu. He is also known as Mahavishnu. Then the second is known as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And this Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from his navel the lotus comes, and on the stem of these lotus there are various planets, planetary systems, and then on the lotus itself Lord Brahma comes, Lord Brahma takes birth. And then we have Kshirodakshai Vishnu. We have Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So Karanodakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu. Guna Avataras, they are like based upon the Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. So Lord Brahma is the creator. He is the in charge of Rajoguna. Lord Vishnu is the maintainer. He is the in charge of Sattva Guna. And Lord Shiva is the destroyer. He is the in charge of Tamoguna. So these are Guna avatars of the Lord. Then we have Leela avatars. So Leela avatars are, as I have been showing in this slide, you will see these are the pictures of various Leela avatars. Matsya avatar, and then we have Varha avatar, we have Narsimha avatar, like that we have Vamana avatar, and we have Parashu avatar, Lord Ram's avatar. So these are actually Leela avatars. Then we have Manvantara avatars. Manvantara means in each Manvantara there is an avatar of the Lord. And we will discuss about all these in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Yuga avatar. So like we have Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. In each Yuga there is an avatar. That is Yuga avatar. And then we have Shaktya Vesh avatar. So Shaktya Vesh avatar means, as I was mentioning short while ago, any living entity sometimes is empowered by the Lord for some specific function. Like Vyasdev was empowered to write Vedic literature. He is also a Shaktya Vesh avatar. We have Parashuram, also is known as Shaktya Vesh avatar. He was empowered to destroy all these unethical Kshatriya kings. And then we have Prithu Maharaj as a Shaktya Vesh avatar. So we have different Shaktya Vesh avatar. Shakti Vesh avatar, Aveshit. So they have been Aveshit with some Shakti. They have been empowered with some powers. That is why they are known as Shaktya Vesh avatars. So you will see here, the question number 4 and question number 5 is about the Purush avatars and the Leela avatars of the Lord. And then after presenting these 4th and 5th question, they express that please, we are very eager to hear about all these things, because because when we hear about the Lord, it is very, very satisfying. Actually, the more you hear, the more you want to hear. It is not satiating. It doesn't it never actually uh, uh, feels that you have fulfilled your desire. The more you want to hear, the more you hear, even more you want to hear. So like that, they are expressing their sentiments here. So we will now recite this verse. वयं तु न वित्रप्याम
वयं तु न वित्रप्याम
उत्तमश्लोक विक्रमे
उत्तमश्लोकविक्रमे
यच्छृण्वतां रसज्ञानां
यच्रावतं रसज्ञानां
यच्छृण्वतां रसज्ञानां यच्छृण् यच्छृण्वतां रसज्ञानां
यच्रणवतं रसज्ञानां
स्वादु स्वादु पदे पदे.
स्वादु स्वादु पदे पदे.
Yes. So vayam tu na vitrapyama. Vayam tu na vitrapyam. Vitrapyam means we are not satisfied. Vayam means we. We are not satisfied. Uttama shloka vikrame. Uttama shloka. Uttama shloka is another name of the Supreme Lord. Why Uttama shloka? Because the Lord is glorified with choicest of poetry. One who is glorified with choicest of poetry is known as Uttama shloka. Vikrame. Vikrame means his glorious deeds, his very chivalrous deeds that he has done. Vayam tuna vitrapyama. Vayam tuna vitrapyama. Uttama shloka vikrame. Yat shrinvatam rasa jnanam. Yat shrinvatam. When we hear the glorious activities about Uttama shloka, our heart is never satisfied. Rasagyanam. Rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. Rasagyanam. Rasa means what? Rasa is actually here referring to the bhakti ras. The bhakti ras. Bhakti ras is being mentioned here. So we have discussed this subject of rasa elaborately in our discussion on Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So those devotees who are joining, who are connecting us for the first time, they can refer to our lectures on Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, where we have discussed elaborate detail about rasa. In short, I will explain here. Rasa means something, some activity which we do, we want to derive some taste out of that activity. So normally in our day-to-day life, we are engaged in material activities, worldly activities. But these activities that we do for bhakti, like offering the arti, like chanting of the holy names, like hearing the katha of the Lord, like going to the holy places of the Lord. So these activities are special activities. They are different from the mundane materialistic activities or worldly activities. Worldly activities, the nature of worldly activities is that when we do them, we at one time get bored out of them. But when we perform devotional activities, we do not get bored out of these devotional activities, the bhakti activities. The bhakti activities has a special feature. The more you do them, the more your desire to do them more actually increases in your heart. So that is what it is saying. It is saying rasa jnanam. Those who appreciate bhakti rasa, those devotees, those people who are rasa jnanam, the knower of rasa, the appreciators of rasa, then for them they never feel satisfied, they never feel satiated. Vitrapyama. By what? Uttama shloka vikrame, by hearing the glorified activities of the Uttama shloka. And every time when they hear, it is swadu swadu pade 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 pade. Every moment, every step, pade pade, swadu swadu. Now you see the poetry in Bhagavatam is so nice. It is so rhyming, it is so sweet. So when you hear the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, you will for certainly you should know that it is Srila Vyasadeva at his best. Srila Vyasadeva at his best performance in Srimad Bhagavatam. Swadu swadu pade pade. Even reciting these verses bring a lot of taste in your heart. So like that, they now glorify that it is very satisfying, it is very enlightening, it is very enchanting to hear in these kind of topics. Okay. Then they mention about they mention a remark, hmm, uh, that why we are wanting to hear about the activities of the Lord, because the Lord Krishna and Balaram, they did so many superhuman activities. So, कृतवान् किल कर्माणि
कृतवान् किल कर्माणि
सह रामेण केशवाः
सह रामेण केशवः
अतिमर्त्यानि भगवान्
अतिमर्त्यानि भगवान्
गूढा कपटमानुषाः.
गूढः कपटमानुषः.
Okay. Kritvan kila karmani. Kritvan means he did. Who did? Ramena and Keshava. Saha Ramena Keshava. So Ramena is actually referring here to Balaram. And Keshava is actually referring to Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram together did so many activities. Kritvan kila. Kritvan kila. So the word kila actually means, let me see, the word kila, kon se. So they did so many. They did many activities. Kritvan kila karmani saha ramena keshava. And then ati martyani bhagavan. Now what are these kind of activities? They are ati martyani. Ati martyani. Martya. Martya means one who is subject to death. Martya loka. Martya lok means where death is bound to happen. Ati martyani. So martya actually referring to human, because it is every human is subject to death. Ati martyani actually means superhuman. So ati martyani bhagavan. Ati martyani bhagavan. So that bhagavan who is ati martyani, whose activities actually are superhuman in nature. And what kind of bhagavan is this? Gudha kapata manushaha. Gudha kapata manusha. Gudha means masked. It is means hidden, masked, covered. Kapata. Kapata manusha means externally he appears like a human. He is masked. He is Lord who is masked externally as a human being. But although he is masked as a human being, but the kind of activities he is doing is superhuman. Ati martyani. So what are the examples? So Lord Krishna steals butter together with Balramji. He would steal butter, but at the same time he would do superhuman activity. He would do superhuman activity of lifting over the hill. He would wrestle together with the Gopas. Balramji and Krishna would wrestle together with the Gopas. And sometimes Gopas would win, sometimes Krishna would win, and Balramji would win. But at the same time, when the demons come, when ferocious demons come, a lot of demons, Aghasura, Bakasura, and so on, they would kill them in just like that. These are superhuman activities. These demons were not ordinary demons, they were very ferocious demons. So like that, Lord Krishna along with Balaram did so many superhuman activities. So many times you would see this word Ati Martyani is very significant here. This tells us about that Lord Krishna and Balaram were not ordinary human beings. Many times people describe them very great historical human beings who did some great things. But here it is clearly mentioned in Bhagavatam by the sages of Naimisharanya that these were not ordinary people. They are actually Ati Martyani. They were superhuman people. They could do superhuman deeds also. Many times when we tell people about the glorifications of the Lord, they think that these stories are only meant for entertainment. They are simply entertainment. Like we have stories of Spider-Man, we have stories of Superman, we have stories of Batman, and so on. So they are simply some entertainment stories. But no, the Lord actually could do superhuman activities. Ati Martyani. So this word is very significant here. And you can see in Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna says, Janma karmacha me divyam, evam yo veti tattvata. So the person who understands that I did some very divine activities, my activities were very divine. Janma karmacha me divyam. These were not ordinary activities. These are actually divine and superhuman activities. Those who can understand me like that, they can actually cross over this material ocean. And then in the next verse, Sut Goswami and they are asking, they are mentioning to Sut Goswami, the sages of Naimisharanya are mentioning to Sut Goswami, knowing that Kali Yuga has started, we are assembled here to hear about Lord's divine message. So here you can see all these sages are on the pretext of assembling or assembling for 1,000-year-old sacrifice. They have identified Sut Goswami and their internal desire is being revealed in this verse. Although externally they are doing some sacrifice, but their internal heart is mainly to hear about Lord's divine message. And they specifically mention here that knowing that Kali Yuga has started, because why they are mentioning Kali Yuga here is because in the age of Kali Yuga, what is the main process of liberation? The prime process of liberation is Shravanam and Kirtanam. These are the two main activities of Kali Yuga as prescribed. So we have different yugas. In Satya Yuga, the process of liberation was dhyan, meditation, for long years. In Treta Yuga, the process of liberation was yajna. In Dwapar Yuga, the process of liberation was deity worship. But what is the process of Kali Yuga, liberation in Kali Yuga? It is holy name, chanting of holy name. He is doing Shravan and Kirtan of the Katha of the Lord. So like that, the sages are saying, knowing that the Kali Yuga period has started, we are assembled here to hear about Lord's divine message. So this is actually revelation of the heart of the sages of Naimisharanya. And then they further glorify Sut Goswami. They say, now you are the captain, you are the leader of the assembly. You can help us sail over this insurmountable ocean of Kali. Insurmountable ocean of Kali. So let us recite this verse. Very beautiful verse. Tvamna sandarshito dhatra.
Tvamna sandarshito dhatra.
Dustaram nistitirshatam.
Dustaram nistitirsatam.
Dustaram nistitirsatam.
Dustaram nistitirsatam.
Tirshatam.
Tirsatam.
Kalim sattvaharam pumsam.
Kalim sattvaharam pumsam.
Karnadhara ivarnavam.
Karnadhara jvaranavam.
Ivarnavam.
Ivarnavam.
Iva means like. You will see in Bhagavatam there will be a lot of analogies. And how do you identify where Bhagavatam verses are giving analogies? You should look for this word Iva. Iva means sadrash, like this. Arnavam. Arnavam means ocean. Like you will see, we have this channel in which this person comes, Arnav Goswami. Arnav. So Arnav actually means ocean. The meaning of the word Arnav is ocean. Karnadhar. Karnadhar means captain. Karnadhar means captain. So you are the captain of the ship, which is sailing where? Which is sailing in the ocean of Kali Yuga. Iva Arnavam. Kali Yuga has been compared to an ocean. Why it is compared to an ocean? Because ocean is a very different, very difficult water body to cross over. Because the waves are very huge. And once you are in an ocean, you are not sure in which direction you should swim because it is so large. You cannot see the other side. You cannot see the other bank. It is very difficult. And that has been mentioned here in Dustaram. This ocean is very Dustaram, very difficult to cross over. And you are the captain of the ship. And that ship is sailing in the ocean of Kali Yuga. And Nisti Tirshatam. Nisti Tirshatam means we are actually trying to cross over this ocean. We want to cross over this very difficult ocean. Of what? Of Kalim. And what kind of this Kalim is? This Kalim actually Sattvaharam Pumsam. This another word will come again and again in Bhagavatam. Pumsam. Pumsam means human being. people in general. Sattva haram. So this Kali Yuga has haram, has stolen the sattva. The good sense of people has been stolen in this age of Kali Yuga. So Tvam na sandarshito dhatra. Sandarshito means meeting. It is our very good fortune. Dhatra means good fortune. It is our good fortune that we have met you, O Sud Goswami, and you can help us cross over this dustaram. You can help us cross over Nistiti Shatam, this dustaram, this very difficult ocean of Kali Yuga, which has actually stolen the Sattva Haram, which has actually stolen the good sense of the Pumsam, the people of this age. Now here, Srila Prabhupada in the purport makes a very good point. He says, the from this verse, the leader of the society, the leaders of the society, the politicians of the society actually can understand how we can bring good sense to the people, to the masses of this age. It is simply by hearing the holy name, it is simply by hearing Krishna Katha, you can actually induce good sense in the mind, in the heart of the people. So this is how Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport here. So why is mentioning to the politicians here? Because Karnadhar. So what kind of a Karnadhar the politician should be? The captain, the leaders. How should be the leaders? The leaders should be properly situated in the chanting of the holy names, hearing Krishna Katha. That is where they will have purified heart, and that is where they can guide people in a nice way. So now coming to our last verse, 23rd verse, and here the last question has been asked. The last question is, whom did Dharma took shelter after Lord Krishna's departure? Whom did Dharma took shelter from after Lord Krishna's departure? So these were the 6 questions that the sages of Naimisharanya asked, and all of these 6 questions I have summarized here in this list. What is the ultimate good for people? What is the essence of all scriptures? And what is the purpose of Lord Krishna's appearance? Tell us about the Purusha Avataras. Tell us about the Leela Avataras. And where did Dharma took shelter after Lord Krishna disappeared from this material world? And all of these questions are actually answered in chapter number 2 and 3. So we will see these answers in the coming classes. So that's all for today. I would like to also briefly present to you this particular slide, and this particular slide is want to emphasize the 5 process of learning. Now in this class, what we are doing is we are doing Shravanam. We are hearing from the teacher. We are getting some knowledge just by hearing. But that hearing can further be strengthened when we do our self-study, which is Pathanam. When we do our self-study, then this hearing will become strengthened. This will further strengthen when we do some Mananam, when we do some recollection. And this recollection will happen in the form of the question and answers we will send you for you to attempt. And we will discuss these question answer in the separate sessions so that the doubts are cleared and you are even more deeper engrossed in the subject matter. And then the 4th point is this learning can further be strengthened after Mananam by Nidhi Dhyasanam. Typically, we would not do Nidhi Dhyasanam in this course, but some of the courses that we see in ISKCON, which are actually they also give open book questions. In open book questions, these are some very generic questions, like for example, from Bhagavatam, explain how Krishna consciousness is the cure-all for people of Kali Yuga in general. How Krishna consciousness can benefit people. Simply by accepting Krishna consciousness, it can cure all of their problems. So these type of questions, which are generally philosophical in nature, they they foster even deeper learning, where we need to contemplate, where we need to actually read the book from different viewpoint, from different angles, and then come up with some thought. So this is called nididhyasanam, contemplation. We might do some questions if you like, but generally we would restrict our discussion mainly to the third point. Then kirtanam. Kirtanam means after doing all 1, 2, 3, and 4, when you have imbibed, when you have assimilated this knowledge, you now start to deliver this knowledge to others. Then your knowledge becomes really very solid. So that is kirtanam. We would also do kirtanam for the devotees who are present here only on volunteer basis. So we would request the devotees to, in the past we have been requesting devotees to hear the class and then present the summary of the class in the before we begin our next class. So that is an opportunity for other devotees to do some kirtanam also, where they can try to present the summary of the previous class in the next class. So like this, the point is, dear devotees, if we the more we try to follow this 5-step process, the more we actually will strengthen our learning. We will make our learning stronger and stronger. So with that, I would like to bring this class to a conclusion. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Any takeaways, any comments, or any question that people may have, we can discuss them now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Rakesh ji, thank you very much for your recitation and reading.
श्लोक रिसाइटेशन का अवसर देने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आपका उपकार प्रभु जी।
धन्यवाद प्रभु जी।
उच्चारण में त्रुटिपूर्ण उच्चारण के लिए क्षमा सभी
अरे
भक्तों
नहीं
से
नहीं,
और आपसे भी।
that is the process of learning, so you need not feel sorry for that. The idea is that it will create some desire to read and chant the slokas. I hope you like that arrangement, because we were not doing that arrangement in the past, but I hope you appreciate it, you like it, and we can extend that facility to other devotees also from the next class on volunteer basis. On volunteer basis. But
Yes,
do you have
Prabhuji.
any questions from the class today? Any comments?
प्रभु जी
Are
क्लास
you
तो
liking?
बहुत अच्छी क्लास थी प्रभु जी। सारे भागवतम का निचोड़ इन 6 सवालों में आ गया, ऐसा लगता है।
Yes, yes. Now you will see the answers also. They are also very nice. You will
Yes.
appreciate the answers also, and we will discuss in the coming sessions. So let me take this opportunity to welcome, I think, some new names I am seeing. I see Dr. Anita Goel. Welcome, madam. And I think Guru Raj Desai was already there in a previous class. Veena ji have been coming. Lakshmi ji, Vinayak ji also, I know. Yeah, Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, yes, she has been there. Hemlata Rangarajan Mataji, and welcome you also. Thank you very much for joining us. Specifically for those who have been connecting with us for the first time or second time, I would first of all like to ask some feedback from them. Do you find this was useful? Do you find this is inspiring, encouraging us to take us to devotional life? Any feedback from the devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, from USA.
Yes, Mataji.
Sir, you are very good, Prabhuji. I have seen all your other lectures. They are very good. I learned a lot, and this is really helpful for me. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, Mataji, can you introduce briefly yourself? Are you joining from India or abroad or from
No,
where?
Prabhuji, I am from USA, Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I'm doing the Bhakti Shastri also, but I think your lectures are really clarifying a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember now. I remember. I think you messaged me on YouTube. YouTube right now. I remember now. So, and then specifically you connected with us from I think the Bhakti Samrat Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion classes, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, and I have taken all those quizzes. Yes.
Oh, very nice. Oh, very nice. So happy to be connecting with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, ji. So any other devotees, specifically those who are connecting us recently, those who have joined, connected with us, Any other remarks or any comments? Please let me know. Vijay Lakshmi Mataji is mentioning very detailed explanation, Prabhu. Thanks a lot. So thank you, Mataji. Thanks for your feedback.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good, you know. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
Prabhu.
Yeah.
Ila
Hare
Mataji
Krishna.
also feeling inspired. Okay, thank you. Good.
Yes,
Yes.
because that
Hare
question
Krishna,
answer
Prabhuji.
is like easy way to understand, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Wonderful
Yes,
class.
Jeevan Prabhuji.
You
Okay.
have taken a lot of trouble to prepare the slides,
Yeah.
explanation, the purpose and all. You have simplified the purpose, the gist of points, and a wonderful class, Prabhu. Really, we are very
Okay.
much benefited. I don't know how
Okay.
to describe that. Really, we are very much benefited. And we really thank you from our heart of hearts, Prabhuji. Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu, for that words, for those appreciative words, encouraging words. Preparing slide is something which is my favorite activity. I really find very lot of satisfaction while preparing these slides, uh, formatting them, finding a right picture for them, maybe color coding them, and thinking how to present the message in a more impactful way. So that is one of my favorite activities. So thank you
Louder.
for
Answer.
that.
It may be your problem. I can hear it.
So
He explained
now conclude our session.
It was very easily explained why, what, whom, for whom, all those things are being described very easily the way you described them. And once again, it takes a lot of effort on your part,
Okay.
and we
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Yep.
These things can't flow out that easily, you know.
Yeah,
You have to do homework, which means
Homework.
time
yeah,
commitment
it is
on
swadu
your part.
swadu pade pade.
Yes.
It is swadu swadu pade pade.
You must be doing a lot of
Thank you
homework,
very much.
you know. Yep.
Yeah. So I appreciate my good wife Namita ji also, Kishori Kund Devi Dasi, to allow me to do all this. So thank you to her also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you to her from us
Okay.
too, you know.
Okay. Thank you, ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Join the next.
Thank you.
Please join in the next
Hare
session.
Krishna
Thank you very
Prabhuji.
much.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Rakesh. Thank you.